Then we are going to start standing.
Good phone.
Yes. We do have to behave ourselves this morning. Oh, gone. It's gonna be hard. I know. We'll give it a good go. All right. So just starting with those feet, what I want you to do is rock. Well, first of all, just plant all four corners of the feet on the floor. Notice what parts of each heel, what parts of the balls of the feet. Can you feel even pressure on the ball of the big toe and the ball of the pinky toe on the floor? How much of the arch can you feel? And roll to the outside of the foot. How easy is it for one foot versus the other to do that? And then roll to the inside of the foot. Bottom line is my left foot doesn't like to do either of those. My right foot's like golden. Back and forth outside of the foot. Inside of the foot. Roll backwards onto the heel. Feel what happens at your hips and at your belly when you roll onto the back of the heel. And now roll more towards the front of the foot. Put your weight on the toes and feel what happens at the hip and the belly. And back and forth here. And now shift most of your weight onto your right foot. Most of the weight onto your left foot, back and forth here. And now that center, that soft spot in your foot is reaching for the floor. And just marching here. Try and get that soft spot down first. The ball of the foot, you're trying to keep the ball of the foot from hitting the floor at all. Obviously, we can't do that. But notice what is happening at your hips as you work at that. Soft spot down, and you're trying to keep the ball of the foot and the heel from hitting the floor. Starting to feel some hip intrinsic muscles kind of come together. Feels good, yeah? All right, and roll through the feet now. Make sure that you point your foot. So you're rolling through and pointing those toes. Make those toes work. And then we would get some marching music with us, right? Very dark marching music. All right, separate the feet, bend the knees. And I want you to roll to the outside of the foot over here. So that happens to be my left, it'll be your right. Press to the opposite side with the outside of that foot. Outside of this foot presses you the opposite way. So using the outsides of the feet to press yourself over to the other side. We're going to come back to this at the end. Good. And one more right here. Now use the inside of the opposite foot to pull yourself. This one is much harder. Pull. And make sure it's the ball of the foot and the heel that's pulling you. All right. Good. And shake those legs out. We'll come back to that at the end. Let's go ahead and come down on the mat. I'm going to use foam roll, but you do not have to have foam rolling. You do not have to use the foam roll. Crackle pop on your way down. Kind of settle into that roll. Hands on the belly, and we'll inhale into the belly. Inhale into the whole waist. Let that waist get nice and big. And exhale. And inhale into the waist. And exhale. And rib cage. Inhale into the rib cage. Make the rib cage nice, big, and round. And exhale. And inhale, rib cage gets nice and round. And exhale. Wavy gravy. Inhale into your waist. Hold your breath. Make the waist very small and the rib cage very big. Make the rib cage small and the waist big. And relax. Again, inhale into the waist. Hold your breath. And waist gets very small. Rib cage gets very big. Back down to the waist. And relax. Inhale into the rib cage. Make the rib cage nice and round. Hold your breath. Make the rib cage small and the waist big. Waist small, rib cage big. And relax. One more time. Inhale into the rib cage. Hold the breath. Rib cage gets small, waist gets big. Waist gets small, rib cage gets big. And relax. Hands down by your sides. Small pelvic floor. So just a little, we're talking 1/2 inch tilt to that 12 o'clock, 1/2 inch to 6 o'clock, just rocking that sacrum back and forth on the mat or on the roll. 1/2 inch one way, 1/2 inch the other. Tiny, tiny. How much muscle can you relax and still make that tiny little movement happen? We're working on just letting everything rest. Let go of any excess tension. We'll come back to that. Take your arms up to the ceiling. Try and touch the ceiling here. Shoulder blades back down. If you're on a foam roll, squeeze the foam roll. And reach to the ceiling. And shoulder blades back down. Squeeze the foam roll. And reach to the ceiling. And down. And reach to the ceiling. And down. And reach. Take the arms up over your head. So elbows up towards your ears. And come back up. Inhale here. Exhale, the arms come up by your ears while your rib cage reaches towards your hip bones. Inhale back up over the chest. Exhale, arms up by the ears, take them out to the side, down by the hip, up over the chest. Keep that rib cage nice and still. Up by the ears, down by the sides, and up over the chest, and up and around one more time. Reverse that circle again, keeping that rib cage nice and still. And down and around second time. And down and around. Back up over your chest, give yourself a big hug. Roll the chin to the throat. Fold the sternum, fold the rib cage to the hip bones. Curling up, inhale. Exhale, roll that back down, switch the arm that's on top. And upper body curl again. Inhale. And exhale, roll that back down. Arms down by your side, palms down. Reach your right heel to the ceiling. Circle that ankle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Really reach that heel to the ceiling. Spread your toes out. Squeeze them together. Spread them out. Squeeze them together. Big toe up. Baby toes down. And switch. And change. And change. Really reach the heel to the ceiling one more time. And place that foot down. Reach your left heel to the ceiling. Circle the ankle. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Reach. Spread your toes out. Squeeze them together. Spread them out. Squeeze them together. Big toe up, baby toes down. And change. And change. And change. Reach one more time. And press that down. A little bit bigger on the pelvic blocks now. So you're going to drop, soften your throat, soften your sternum. Rib cage comes down. Lumbar presses down. And your tailbone rolls up towards your knees. Holding that there. How much can you let go of there? And tip the tailbone down to the roll or the mat. And each vertebrae rolls up away until your sternum lifts towards your chin. And inhale here. And exhale, roll the sternum back down. Roll down through that spine to 12 o'clock. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Test your belly. Your belly should be nice and soft here. The deeper spine muscles making that happen. And now tip your tailbone towards the roll and peel away. And a little quicker we go. 12 and 6 and 12 and 6. Each tilt, the spine gets a little longer. It doesn't get shorter. 12, 6, 12, 6, 12, and 6, 12, and 6. And back to center. 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Right hip bone down. Left hip bone down. And right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Go ahead and make sure that your feet are right underneath of your knees. You're going to bring your right hip bone towards the mat. Reach your left knee over your left toes. Hold that there. So your whole left waist should be nice and long. And back to center. And left hip bone down. Reach the right knee over your right toes. Your whole right waist should feel very long. Hold that. Back to center. Right hip bone down. Reach your left knee over your left toes. Now with that there, let's play around with the foot. Put most of the weight towards your heel. Notice what happens on your left foot. So your left knee is reaching, your left waist is long. Most of the weight on your left heel. Now shift most of the weight towards the ball of the foot. Shift back towards the heel. Notice how the muscles change and more towards the toes. More towards the heel. More towards the ball of the foot. And back to center. Reach your left hip bone down. Reach the right knee over the right toes. Holding that. Nice long right waist here. And put most of the weight into the heel. Most of the weight into the ball of the foot. Most of the weight on the heel. Most of the weight on the ball of the foot. most of the weight on the heel, most of the weight on the ball of the foot, and bring it to center. One more 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and just to lengthen that back out, even it out. So we go 12 and 6. Should almost feel a little easier right here. 12 and 6 and 12 and 6. And let's go ahead and bring your right knee into your chest, left knee into your chest. If you're on a foam roll, see if you can find your balance. Otherwise, hug your knees into your chest and just stretch out your lumbar. Let's bring heels together, toes apart into our little froggy. It's like you're standing on the ceiling here, and we'll reach all the way up to the ceiling. Try and touch the ceiling with those toes. Flex the feet, draw that in, little reverse curl up here. And reach to the ceiling, and in, little reverse curl up. And reach, and in, little reverse curl up. Reach, and in, reverse curl up. Reach, and in, reverse curl up. Last one, reach, and in, little reverse curl up. Draw those legs in and just find your balance again, or hug your knees into your chest, stretching out the lumbar. And we'll drop the right foot down, left foot down, grab your band, grab your ring. Rings can go on the outsides of the thighs. Band in the hands. Wrap the band around the backs of the hands. It's a little easier. You can just reach your fingertips up to the ceiling here. You don't have to grip it. And go ahead and pull out on the ring just a tiny bit. Pull out on the band and we'll hold. Same thing here with those feet. Put most of the weight on the heel. Feel what that does. And now most of the weight into the ball of the foot. Feel what that does. And have to kind of wait for a moment to feel the changes happen. And into the heels. Into the ball of the foot. And into the heels. Into the ball of the foot. On the ball of that foot, shift most of the weight towards the big toe. Shift most of the weight to the pinky toe. Most of the weight to the ball of the big toe. And most of the weight to pinky toe. And take a break. Make sure those feet are right underneath your knees. You're going to go into hip bridges. So pull out on the ring, pull out on the band, roll down through that spine to 12 o'clock and peel the hips up and peel them right back down again. Nice and gentle with those hamstrings and peel it up. Peel it right back down. Tip to 12 o'clock and peel it up. Peel it down. Tip to 12 o'clock, peel it up. And peel it back down. This time, peel it up, reaching the knees across the room and pulling out on the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4 little pulses. 9, 10. Hold and up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold out on the ring. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold up to the ceiling. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hold and roll that down. And rest. We're going to take the ring away. And just a real quick hamstring stretch. And set your band off to the side. And right foot up to the ceiling. And the other side, left heel up to the ceiling. And back down. Bring between the thighs. Bring those feet so that they're just ear distance apart. Hands behind the back of the head here. And give that ring a good squeeze. Pressing those feet into the mat. Reach the elbows to the corners of the ceiling. And that reach is what's going to help you come up. So inhale here. Exhale. Elbows reach, fold the sternum, fold the ribs, heads resting in the hands. And now reach the hands to the ceiling. Grab the backs of those knees. Pull a little higher. Reach to the ceiling. Hands behind the back of the head, rolling it down. And reach the elbows to the ceiling to come up. Reach. Hands behind the backs of the knees. Pull a little higher. Reach. Hands behind the back of the head, rolling it down. Last one, up. Reach. Hands behind the backs of the knees. Pull a little higher. Reach. Hands behind the back of the head, rolling it down. And rest. Take your ring away. One heel up to the ceiling. One more time. Hamstring stretch. And other side. Back down. One more balance on the roll. Go ahead and bring right knee in, left knee in. Try and find that balance. Even if you don't find it, all the wiggles are work. And right foot down, left foot down. Let's come off the roll. Roll on. Keep your roll pretty handy. We're going to do one more thing before we set it off to the side permanently. So just nice long, find that nice length that we just created. Should have a little bit more touching the floor than what you're accustomed to. And grab that roll now and place it right at the back of the top of your thigh where the booty cheek and the hamstrings meet. And we're just going to press those thighs down into the roll right there. Don't have to straighten your knees. Take a break. And press the thighs down one more time. Roll the knees to face one another. Internal rotation. And external rotation. Turn the knees away from one another. And knees in. And knees out. And rest it down. And now set your roll off to the side. Bring your right knee up, left knee up. We'll go into assisted roll-ups next. And hands behind the backs of the knees. Press those thigh bones away. Roll your chin to the chest. Now sternum folds, rib cage folds to your hip bones. Inhale here. Exhale. Press away to roll all the way up. And sit tall. Hinge back and rolling it all the way down. Press the thigh bones away. Roll the chin and up. Nice and tall. Hinge back. Roll the tailbone under and rolling it down. One more. Press the thigh bones away. Rolling it up. And sitting nice and tall. Stretch those legs. And reach. We'll hinge back, roll the tailbone under, and roll it all the way down. Inhale here. Exhale, chin to the throat, curl the rib cage to the hip bones and all the way up. Reach into your spine stretch. And stack that really tall. Hinge back, long spine, roll it under and all the way down. And exhale, rolling it all the way up. Reach into your spine stretch. Stack it tall. Hinge back and rolling it all the way down. Last one like that, and roll the chin to the throat, all the way up into your spine stretch. Inhale here, exhale, stack it tall, and hinge back and rolling all the way down. And roll to your belly. So hands underneath your forehead. And sacrum is pressing into the floor while the thigh bones, the inner seam of your pants leg, is reaching to the ceiling. You had that blueberry underneath your belly button. You don't want to stain that shirt. Inhale. And exhale, lengthen to a hover. And rest it down. And exhale, lengthen. Make yourself 6 feet long. Rest it down. And exhale, lengthen. Rest it down. One more time. Exhale, lengthen. Now squeeze your shoulder blades together in the back and reach your elbows to the side walls. And rest it down. Hands beside the chest, elbows pointing to the ceiling. From here, reach your elbows towards your knees and peel that up into your semi-cobra just a little bit. Roll it back down. Shoulder blades are squeezing together in the back. Reach the elbows and coming up. And back down. One more time there, and exhale up. From here, go ahead and put weight into the hands and press up into your swan. Shoulder blades stay away from the ears, so we don't want to be here. That's a turtle. Bring those shoulders away from the ears so that that neck gets nice and long all the way down. And rolling that up, reaching the elbows, shoulders stay away from the ears to come up. That was better. And rolling it back down. And rolling it all the way up. And rolling it all the way back down. Bring your hands by your sides, palms facing your thighs for dart. Your thighs are going to stay on the mat for this. Go from the tip of your nose to the tip of your chin. Shoulder blades squeeze together and reach your hands towards your feet to come up. And rolling it down. Shoulder blades together, fingertips reach for your heels to come up. Now, go ahead and lift the legs and turn the knees out to the sides. Now, squeeze your inner thighs together, holding that there. And now little thigh beats here. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 4, 5. And rest it down and press back into your child's pose. Roll that up to seated. And give your hands a good stretch. And back of the wrist. And switch. And switch. Those hands in good shape. Spread the fingers out nice and wide. Squeeze them together. And come to hands and knees on the mat. Your tailbone is reaching to one end of the room, the top of the head to the other end. Give those hands a tug towards your knees. And now follow that to bring your shoulders in front of your hands. Now push your hands towards the front end of the mat. Let your body follow for the shoulders to come behind. And tug. Shoulders come in front. Push to the front. And the shoulders drop behind. Now, push the knees to the back end of the mat, or towards your feet. Let your hips come front. Pull the knees towards your hands. Let the hips follow going backwards. Push the knees towards the feet. And the hips come forward. Pull the knees towards your hands. And the hips drop back. Bring it to center. Go ahead and lift the right hand and the left knee. Make sure that left knee is coming forward, not backwards. If your balance is good, take it out nice and long. Rest it down. Left hand, right knee. If your balance is good, go ahead and reach it out long. Otherwise, just work on your balance. Just balancing there is working up. And bring it down. Open the hands a little wider. Shift everything to the left hand and open out the right side. Lift that top leg. You want to commit to the length, commit to the width here. And rest it down. Go to the other side. Shift everything right. Open up the left. Lift the top leg. Nice and wide. From fingertip to fingertip is getting as wide as you can from top of the head to the bottom of the foot. Tips of the toes getting as long as you can. Make sure your rib cage to hip bone connection is still there in the front. And rest it in. Okay, let's come to seated. That nice long diamond. And grab your ankles. And give those ankles a tug to pull yourself into a flat back here. Curl that over. Try and put your nose on your feet. Put your nose to your belly button. Try and put your nose on your belly button and your belly button on your nose. And roll that up. And take the legs out to the side. You can put your hands back here if you need the help to sit tall. And then roll your belly button forward and your tailbone backwards to arch your lower back. If you have advantage with gravity and can lean forward here, you can do this one as well. Getting better. And just wiggle that side to side. Some WD-40 in those hip joints. You know, we have people in the nursing home who swear by spraying their knees with WD-40.
Use Windex too?
Only in my big Creek wedding.
Yeah.
You know, I always say if the placebo works and you know, whether we've got research to prove it or not, if I can walk better with WD-40 on my knees, why am I gonna like fuss about it? No, it doesn't make sense, but does it need to make sense? All right, right here, and circle one. They have proven that belief is a tremendous portion of how we get better.
That makes sense.
The self WD-40.
Oh, yeah. So reverse that circle. And spread the toes out. Squeeze them together. Spread the toes out. Notice what happens in your belly when you squeeze them together. Anybody see fun in that? Isn't that wild? You spread them out, it lets go. You squeeze them together, it's like, woo. And big toe up, baby toes down. And switch. And switch. And switch. Just like a good shake. All right, give them some help. So grab the backs of the knees and in. And lean back on those hands and we'll do internal rotation here. So drop one knee in and back, drop the other knee in. And in. And in. And from here, try and keep the knee there and get the sits bone down to the floor. Be gentle with it. The knee will come up a little bit, but you're trying to keep it close to the floor. And now drop the other knee. And again, hip forward, hip back. And bottoms of the feet together for our short diamond. Grab your ankles, not your toes. And from here, everything's about the length of the spine. So let the roof of the mouth float to the ceiling while the knees reach for the floor. Spine gets longer, sits bones come together. Give me a big inhale. Exhale, sits bones together, knees to the floor, roof of the mouth to the ceiling. Hold. Keep growing, keep that energy. Inhale. Exhale, grow taller. Inhale. Exhale, grow taller. And rest. That one I feel like it's a lot of work, but it feels good. Like all of a sudden everything just kind of sets and it's like that. All right, from here, let's go ahead and do our feet. So one foot, one ankle. If you need to sit on a couch to do this because this is too much on your hips or your lower back, that's fine. Grab your big toe, give it a tug, circle it around. The toe, yeah. And now pull that big toe over. Big toes, I think, are probably the most used and abused digit of our entire body. And back the other way. And forward. Now all 5 toes forward. And point your whole ankle. So we're stretching from the knee all the way down through the toes. Now pull your ankle back, but your toes are over. It's 2 separate sets of muscles there. And forward again. And from here, hold hands with your toes. So you're trying to put your fingers in between the toes. And then grab those toes, give them a good tug. Circle the ankle. Now the baby toe kind of get left out of that tug and it needs one. So now you're going to grab your pinky toe and give him a tug too. Circle the ankle there. Yeah. That needs to happen.
Is this what you did when you were dying?
Oh yeah.
Something that we never do is exercise our bones.
No, we don't. We don't. And or massage them, or you know, this distraction.
Yeah.
Huge key piece of feeding cartilage in the joints there. So grab your big toe, give him a tug, and circle that. So remember, cartilage does not have a blood supply. So it only gets fed with compression and release of our movement, which is why being sedentary is so harsh on the joints.
Mhm.
Not using the full range of motion of a joint is very harsh on the joint, because then there's pieces of the cartilage that don't get compressed and released. So the synovial fluid is where good, and bring that big toe over is where the food is at, is in the synovial fluid of the joint. And back. And now all 5 toes over. Whole foot is pointed. And now flex your ankle. So
I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I need both hands.
It's 2 separate sets of muscles that you're stretching. So we stretch. When we do here, we're stretching the muscles that come all the way down the front. But when we come here, we're only stretching the muscles that are in the foot to the toes. Right, big toes. All right, hold hands with your toes. And give those toes a good tug. Johan Johansson is playing some nice music this morning. Circle the whole ankle here. Pull in those toes while you're at it. Little multitasking at its best. And go ahead and grab your pinky toe and give it a tug. Good. All right. Give those feet a good shake. All right. Let's see. We got time. Come down on one side or the other. Does not matter to me which. You're gonna bend your bottom knee. Make sure that your elbow and your hip and your knees are lined up with the back edge of your mat. So you're all in one line. You're gonna inhale here, exhale, lift up out of that shoulder, and then lift your hips. Hold there. Bring it back down. You can straighten your bottom leg or you can keep it bent and lift 2. Back down. Lift and hold 3. Back down, lift and hold 4. And down, lift and hold 5. And down, lift and hold 6. And down, 2 more, up 7. And down, up 8. And down and rest. Switch to the other side. Again, line everything up with the back edge of your mat. Bottom knee can be bent or straight, up to you. I like to start the first one with it bent. And lift up out of that shoulder girdle and lift the hips. Holding. Let all those intrinsics kick in. Back down. Going to straighten the bottom leg. You can leave it bent. Lift and hold 2. Back down. Lift and hold 3. Back down. Lift and hold 4. And down. Bottom of the pinky toe instead of the outside of the ankle, Jamie. Get the bottom of that bottom foot down. There you go. And up. And back down. And up. Back down. And up. Back down. Last one. And up. And back down and rest. Great. Bottoms of the toes tucked under. Heel cord stretch. So your toes are pointing towards your knees. You sit back onto the bottoms of those toes. Hands to the knees. Hands to the ankles. And sit back onto your heels. Squat, whatever squat is appropriate for you. Dropping those heels towards the floor. Curl it up, looking behind you. Take the tailbone up to the ceiling. Let the head drop. Just hang here and you can soften your knees. Bend one knee, straighten the other, and change. And change. 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 And switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. Inhale here. Exhale, tip your tailbone down towards the backs of your knees. And now begin to roll it up and pour everything back on top of your pelvis. Nice and tall. Inhale here. Exhale, rolling it down. Curl it up. Curl, 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 curl. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, rolling it back up. Inhale at the top. And exhale, rolling it all the way back down. We got to do at least one plank here, guys. Okay, I didn't make you do swimming lessons. Walk that out into your down dog. So you can soften your knees and pop your heels up here. Everything's about the length of the spine. So the top of the head's reaching for the floor. Weight into the fingers as well as the wrist. Roll the elbows towards one another. Lift your tailbone to the back corner of the ceiling. Lengthen that spine. Inhale. Exhale, lengthen the spine. Now, without losing the length on that spine, let your knees straighten. Let your heels drift towards the mat. And bend one knee, straighten the other. Back and forth here. Bend both knees, straighten both knees, walk your hands out into your plank. Shoulders are opening up in the front. Drop your hips down into that ironing board plank. Top of the head to one side of the room. Heels to the other side of the room. Lengthen, 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 lengthen. Inhale here. Exhale back into your down dog. Walk your hands back to your feet. Soften the knees and peel that all the way back up. Are those getting easier yet?
Maybe less painful than I hear.
Okay, if less painful, I'll take. All right, come off of your mat. And actually, less painful means yes, easier. All right, so back to our little marching that we were doing. Soft spot of the foot is reaching for the floor. And bend one knee. And as you're placing that foot back down, you're trying to get that soft spot on the floor first. You just corrected what I was going to correct. Dennis, that was perfect. All right. And from here, go ahead and take those feet out nice and wide. Bend your knees. And push to one side using the outside of the foot. Outside of the foot. Outside of the foot. Outside of the foot. Now inside of the opposite foot, pulse. Pull. 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 And pull. One more set. Pull. I think this is the harder one. All right. Take your feet kind of a little bit wider than your hips, front to back, and put your either right foot or left foot front. Get your hips right in the center of that. From here, I want you to push through the inside of the back foot to come to the outside of the front foot, and back. I'm gonna rock through those feet. And back. And push. Now notice on the back hip, as you're rolling through that big toe, what's happening on your back hip and what's happening on the front hip as you're on the outside of that foot. And come back. And one more time. Back hip onto the outside of the front foot. And switch legs. And again, just get the motion first. So we're pushing off of the inside of the back foot onto the outside of the front foot. And back. And inside of the back foot, outside of the front foot. And back. And forward. And back. Was one side easier than the other? Make sure that leg is straight.
Oh, they're both supposed to be.
They're both straight. This is to mimic walking. If you walk down the street, you're not going to do it this way. So push on to push that back. So right here, like you're going to take a step forward. Straight leg, lift that hip up and over. The hip coming forward, hip leads, Kay. There you go. Hip leads. All right, here we go. What happens on the back foot as you roll through the inside, back hip, as you roll through the inside? What happens on the front hip as you stand on the outside? And back there, one more time. That's it, kid. But it's hard on that side, isn't it, Mary? Yeah, I did this side wrong. So let's go back and do one more time on each side. And inside of the back foot, outside of the front foot. And the hip leads come up on top of it. And back. And push your hips forward onto the outside of that front foot. Hips come forward onto the outside of that front foot. And this side's much easier. And now switch again. Again, inside of the back foot, outside of the front foot. And back. So there's your walking pattern. So place your hands right here in that little dimple behind your leg bone there. I want you to put most of your weight on the inside of the foot. Feel what happens there at your hip. Now put most of the weight onto the outside of the foot. Feel what happens in that space. Two separate sets of muscles there. When you're on the outside of the foot, it's your deep lateral rotators. When you're on the inside of the foot, it's your glutes. One goes this way, one set goes this way. So you've got rubber bands here that are pulling the leg bone straight backwards, and then we've got some that go this way, rubber bands that externally rotate. So as I'm pushing off of my back leg onto my front leg, the ones that go this way are stabilizing this hip, and the ones that go this way are making you push off and extending your hip. Walking is much more complex than we ever thought it could be. All right, heels together, toes apart. Last thing, hands on your hips. I'm gonna do a heel raise here. Find your balance. I want you to pretend that your hands are like a vice grip, and they're gonna lift up on your hip bones. And those hip bones are gonna stay as far away from the floor as you can keep them while you reach your heel bones to the floor. And back up. And heel bones reach as your hips stay high. Back up. Hips stay high as your heel bones reach. Back up. Hips stay high as your heel bones reach. And shake it out. Good. Nice and tall here, sacrum forward, thigh bones back. Rib cage right over top of your pelvis. Weight centered on all four corners of the feet. And inhale into the rib cage here. Exhale, roof of mouth floats to the ceiling, shoulder blades down and back, palms face your thighs. And rest. Thank you.